history of the Toyota Camry in Australia. This video will mainly be focusing on the third generation XV10 Camry, which is the model in this video. The Camry was released in Australia in 1983, but these were all imported from Japan, and it wasn't until the release of the V20 Camry in 1987 that they were produced in Australia by AMI in Port Melbourne, Victoria. Some of these were also badged as Holden Apollos to fit in with the regulations of the controversial button car plan at the time. In 1992, the wide-body XV10 Camry was released. These new wide-body Camrys were originally designed for the US market, where they prefer to drive larger cars, as with Australia, so were well suited for the Australian market and sold pretty well. They are widened by 75mm down the centre over the Japanese spec V30 Camry, similar to its main rival on the Australian market, the Mitsubishi Magna, which was a widened Mitsubishi Galant. These Camrys were still built in Port Melbourne for the first 2 years, but in 1994 they were built at the Altona plant, which is also in Melbourne in Victoria. The Camry sold with either a 2.2 litre 5S FE 4-cylinder, which has brought out an extra 0.2 litres over the 3S FE it replaced, and now had an interesting balance shaft setup in the sump. Or it could be had with the 3 litre 3VZ FE V6, which this Camry in the video has. The 4-cylinder Camrys were mostly fitted with 4-speed autos, but there were a few that were fitted with a 5-speed manual. 6-cylinder Camrys were also mostly fitted with 4-speed automatic transmissions, but there were a very small amount of 5-speed manual V6 Camrys too, and these are rare. The Camry was available as both a sedan and a station wagon in a few trim levels. The base was called the Executive, then there was the CSI, which got a tachometer and a few other small things. Then there was the Ultima, which got a CD player, ABS, cruise control, climate control, electric windows all around, leather steering wheel, a rear spoiler, sport suspension and alloy wheels. So it was a fair bit more upmarket than the previous two models. All these models could also be fitted with a V6, and they were then called the Camry Vienta. There was also a Camry Vienta Touring, which sat between the CSI and the Ultima. And last of all, there was also a Holden Apollo branded one too, which got a different grille, bumpers and tail lights. These were also available as either a 4-cylinder or a V6 with the same two motors. There was an update in 1995, but not much changed in this update really. Sedans got a different boot lid panel, and they got different hubcaps and other small styling changes along those lines. The Camry Vienta was now just called the Vienta, and the Vienta Ultima was called the Grande, or Grand, whether the E is silent or not, I don't know, which now had leather seats. Update Holden Apollos got a new grille styled in a similar way to the VR and VS Holden Commodores. These were also to be the last of the Holden Apollos. This generation Camry has a reputation of being a car that will last forever and clock up some really high mileage. Ironically, in my personal experience with these Camrys, they have been full of major problems. However, I have only worked on a handful of them, including this one, which has not been fun. There are still a few XV10 Camrys on Australian roads in 2024, but they are not a common sight anymore, as they once were. They were then replaced by the XV20 Camry, which was also a widened version of the Japanese spec Camry. Okay, Toyota Camry V6 3VZ 0 to 60. 3, 2, 1.